On this edition of the Dimp Digital podcast, Apps is joined by Logan and Tom Atkins as they discuss their EGX 2015 experience, including Star Wars Battlefront.
It's very good, the mechanics feel sweet, it looks great. I just don't know if it's got those legs that are required. I don't know if I could sit there day in, day out doing massive 20v20 games. Just Cause 3.
And the thing for me that stood out for me is that it was a 20-minute demo. It went really quickly.
Yeah, it did.
Like, it just evaporated, and I was like, shit. And people come around, come and get up, and I was like, fucking hell. Felt like I hadn't even scratched the surface. I was pissing around in the village for ages, just upsetting the locals.
And both the PlayStation VR and HTC Vive.
And it really, your heart starts pumping. It's because you're in that virtual reality, even though you know it's not real.
Yeah.
It's still there, but that was the best ever VR experience I've ever had.
All that and much, much more on the Dimp Digital podcast.
Hello, welcome to the Dimp Digital podcast. We're on episode number 41, and this time you've got myself, Apps, Tom Adkins, and Logan. Gents, how we doing?
Yeah, Logan reinstalled.
Logan's got off his arse and done something useful, so yes, Logan has been reinstalled, and obviously we've got Mr. Adkins there also. How are you doing?
Very well.
Yeah, excellent. So this might seem like a bit of a weird panel for people because this is not a typical combination that we've used before, but we are straight from EGX 2015. We've literally been back a couple of hours, if that. It took place in Birmingham in the United Kingdom, which is a bit of a stinker for us to get up to from the south. We spent 2 days there. We were unfortunately very worse for wear on the second day, and I think that's thanks to the multiple bottles of wine, some of the lager we had, IPA, Guinness, and I'm not even joking, the worst tasting Jaeger bomb I've ever had in my entire life, and Adkins, you can agree with that.
Great.
It was absolute grimness, and luckily Logan steered clear of that, but what he got for his troubles instead was a shot of Bells, which...
from my own choice as well, that absolutely put me down, that did.
I mean, I don't know what was going through your head at that stage to ask for a Bells at that stage. It was late in the night as well.
Put me down.
It did. Obviously, we're going to kick off with what we actually got to play at EGX and give our thoughts and opinions on the event and what took place there. Let's start with Star Wars Battlefront. One of the pinned in for one of the biggest releases of the year. November 20th is when that particular one drops. Now, me and Logan got to play two demos. Mr. Adkins got to play just the one. So let's just cover off the one that Adkins didn't get to play, and that was the co-op demo, which I think is called Missions, and it was a sub game mode called Survival, I believe. I could be wrong. They didn't really explain to us what we was playing. They kind of just queued up and were dumped on some machines and just told to go away with it. But it was split screen, which is promising because a lot of games these days don't have any split screen, so it's good that Battlefront is going to have that there for those that like that style of gaming. What did you make of this game? It was essentially Horde mode, wasn't it, Logan?
Yeah, me and Biff were on one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only problem that you have is you get on here and you've got to try and find your bearings, figure out what's going on and everything in a very short space of time. Yeah. The one that me and Biff were on as well didn't have any sound.
That is a stinker because, for me, that's one of the best parts of Battlefront. It's just the sounds and how authentic it feels. But having no sound doesn't help because you use that for your instructions of what you've got to do next. Otherwise, I guess you're running around aimlessly.
A little bit. I mean, I've played loads of Horde stuff, so I sort of know that I've just got to keep running about trying to find stuff. But it felt a bit basic. Yeah. It's pretty bog standard. If I got that game, I don't think I'd be doing a lot of that.
So you wouldn't do a lot of Horde mode or mission mode?
No, I don't. I thought the second one we did was better. It was my first experience to it, and I think it was a little bit dampened anyway by the fact that I couldn't hear anything.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think the sound in that game is at least 80% of it. I really, really do. Mm-hmm. And but if the controls were solid and the gameplay was solid on it, I didn't find that a problem. No. But yeah, it was my first introduction to it, and I thought it was all right. We did the whole thing, all 6 rounds, and come off it.
Wow,
10 minutes done.
It's better than what me and Piper did. I mean, I enjoyed it, and as some of you probably know, I love a bit of co-op, and despite the fact that me and Piper were shocking, I think we got to the 6th wave and then died. I was actually surprised I was worse than him. So I don't know how that's happened.
He's fucking dreadful at that.
Oh, no, I
He's
died.
not a first-person shooter at all.
I was awful though. I kept dying. I used all the lives and then died. And I left him to clear up one of the waves. I think it's a good addition to have anyway, having that game mode in there. For me, any time you kind of offer people the option to step out of a competitive environment is good, because I'm just so poor sometimes that I get fed up with just getting my ass kicked. And now coming on to the next part, we've done a second demo, which was a full-scale 20-on-20 competitive multiplayer game mode called Walker Assault. And essentially, you had to capture the different uplink points if you were the rebels, and once they were captured, you get AT support in, and then you could damage the ATs, and I think the goal was to get rid of those on there. And obviously, if you're on the Empire side, you're trying to prevent that from happening. Atkins, this is your first go of it. You had full sound, so you got the full experience. What did you make of this particular game mode and how Battlefront played?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's obviously it's going to have the similarities to Battlefield.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
So it is essentially a reskinning. I'd like to see more of it to see if it can hold up on its own.
In the way it felt, I mean, in terms of the gameplay, the one thing I did really enjoy was the sort of the RB boost, where you can kind of jump, then boost up into the air about 10-15 yards.
Jetpacks, that was a very good inclusion.
Yeah,
but,
one thing that wound me up about that is when you hit a ledge, it wouldn't climb up it, just slide down. And I was like, now we're at that stage where like Halo and obviously Titanfall and Black Ops and Advanced Warfare, that was all included. That seems natural now for me, to be able to hit a ledge and climb up and over into it, and not having that was a bit jarring for me.
No, agreed. Just to repeat what you said as well, the sound of the game really does set the scene for it. The graphics were incredible as well. Guys have done a sterling job. It
looked really good, and like you said, it was very, very authentic in how it played. They've got that completely spot on.
I didn't get to do any of the X-Wings, like to get into the TIE fighters. No. I didn't get to do any action with that.
I didn't either. Did Logan, did you manage to get into one of those?
Yeah.
And how did that play? Because there's kind of a squadron mode, which is a separate game mode where it's just kind of dogfighting. But there was actually an option here, if you collected enough of these tokens, I believe they were, you could then call in and take over one. How did that part of the game feel? Because I didn't get to experience it.
It felt alright. It's really. Again, you get such a limited amount of time to go, right, get your head around it and do something with it. And you get in it, the controls are pretty straightforward, they're not complicated. You've got to shoot and you sort of analog sticks to go faster and move around and
stuff.
So
inverted controls?
I can't remember, but I remember it took me a minute to get my head around it, so it might be inverted if that's the case, because I don't do well with that. But
Hull loves that.
Yeah, eventually I sort of got my head around it, but I didn't find it helpful. I thought, right, I'm in the air, got air superiority. Yeah. But the targets on the ground are so small that you're not going to kill anyone really, unless you've got that. Unless you're going after the AT&T. Yeah. It's no point. No. I don't think, not on that.
Not on a capture the flag-esque game, because you're not offering much, are you?
Yeah. So it was. I like the way my favourite thing with these games, and it's my biggest gripe with Call of Duty, is that I hate games that give you too much customisation. I know it's a silly thing for me to have a bugbear about. Yeah. But I just like to go, right, I've got 4 guns. Yeah. Which one do I want to use? I'll use that one. Yeah. And then, because then that you other people have only got that as well. Yeah, that's a good point, because you don't want to feel like other people have got an advantage by using or customising a certain type of gun in such a way that it's deadly, or just having it straightforward. Like it was 4 or 5 guns, wasn't there, you could choose, and then you had two different loadouts, and it was so simple for anyone, my crap standard to pick up and understand. I could get a feel for all the different guns, and I think I finished 3rd from bottom, and Piper was below me, so maybe I've got the edge on him there. As a whole, in terms of that competitive mode, and as probably our first-person shooter expert, Logan, what's your overall thoughts on this game? Is it going to be something that you're likely to get? I think I'm going to have to. The thing is, it was so fun to play. I think it's something that I've said before, is that the market has been screaming out for something like Star Wars, because it's such a big market and it's so iconic, and it was just waiting for someone to pick it up and run with it.
Yeah.
And I think they've done a great job of it. Like the actual experience of it when you're in there, it's almost like you're in a movie.
Yeah.
Like all the noises and all the everything going on, and although there's a lot going on, I mean, I think I finished 17 for 17. So yeah,
7 for 28 to deal with that stat.
God.
Shocking.
I thought I died a lot. I was like, bloody hell.
Got my ass kicked.
Yeah, so I was happy with that. And once I found a gun that I liked and stuff, I was like, right, I'm getting into this a bit now. So I think the first half I was like 1 for 10.
Yeah.
I got about 16 for about 7. So I picked it up a little bit in the second bit.
Sure.
It's very good. The mechanics feel sweet. It looks great. I just don't know if it's got those legs that are required. I don't know if I could sit there day in, day out doing massive 20v20 games. But I will get it. It is that for me was just assuring myself that I'd get that film experience. I think, and you definitely do.
Yeah, I mean it's worth pointing out there are smaller deathmatch modes available on the full game. This was obviously a select mode they wanted to show off. So I read a story from GameSpot a few months ago saying basically that they're expecting, EA Sports are expecting that Battlefront will sell 9 to 10 million copies by March 2016. Mr. Adkins, based on what you've played and based on that this is year of the Star Wars, can you see it hitting them sort of numbers? I mean, 9 to 10 million is a phenomenal amount from a game to do these days.
Yeah, that is a big. But what was GTA 5? I think that was.
Oh, that's ridiculous. That is, isn't
big
it?
numbers, didn't it?
That is absolutely nothing to compare to.
Well.
No, true. But this, I can see this game just everyone being into this. It's not my sort of game. I'm not into multiplayer games where there's not. It doesn't have a story, does it? This game?
No, it's got offline, like the co-op mode's offline. There's missions you can do, like standalone missions, but there's no kind of narrative to follow. No, you can play it offline in a non-competitive environment.
No, so like I say, it's not the sort of game that I would normally buy, but because it's Star Wars, I think it's just going to appeal to every gamer. I think most people will have it, so I think people will just love to get involved in the social side of it and crack on as a team. Yeah,
I mean, this is the question I'm going to try and ask after nearly every game we've played. In your estimations, Logan, so before you went into EGX and after playing Battlefront, has it gone up or down?
I think it's about on par with what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, I've obviously played Battlefield before. Yeah. I didn't expect them to revolutionise any of the game mechanics.
No.
So it fits in with my expectations there, and I quite like this. So you don't reload the gun, but you just got to stop it overheating. Oh, cool. So it stops you absolutely just going to town on people. Yeah. So I thought that was quite good.
Oh, I thought that was annoying.
Well, it is easy just to want to just let off with it, but I think it just stops people absolutely caning into you. So I thought, and if you get it right, if you get onto the yellow dots, which is quite easy after you master it, it took me 10 minutes to sort that out.
Yeah.
And you're reloading, essentially reloading quickly, but just cooling it down. But that was quite cool. And as I say, the one thing I did find annoying was they are big maps. But like this one's quite not mountainous, but it's got loads of different levels on it. And as you say, you're sort of
stung from behind, and I was getting absolutely peppered from all sorts of angles.
I think that's going to happen, and I was quite fine with that. You're getting back in quickly. I was like, right, that's done. But I think the point you made regarding just climb up a bit, mate.
Yeah, be able to climb up.
But I think that has, or especially since Titanfall and what with Call of Duty, I think that has become a bit of a.
That's got to be a standard.
Minimum requirement, so that is a bit annoying. I'm hoping I won't notice that much because I won't really be concerned. But
it depends how they develop. It's the map design that will dictate that. If they dictate it, if it's made in such a way that it's not needed and it's not going to be a lot of opportunity for you to do that, it's fine. But even the little bits, there's like kind of like little ditches, weren't there? Little trenches.
Get me out of there!
And it wasn't even easy to get up and out of those. I was like, Christ Almighty, get up there, put a hand on it.
Yeah. But
what was that figure you just said? How much do they expect to sell?
9 to 10 million.
Yeah, definitely. GTA 5 sold nearly 52 million.
Cool. Wow. That is across 2 generations. Remember, 2 generations of platforms. So I reckon at least 30% of those are double dips.
Right, oh, true.
What I mean. But Star Wars is good. It's the year of the Star Wars, isn't it? I mean, that's going to pull. You think it's going to pull massive numbers, and
movie as well.
There's people a bit down on like Call of Duty and whatnot. So maybe this will be the first-person shooter of this year. But
just one point I am concerned about is that it didn't feel like it, but I'm concerned that this release is dictated by the film to a certain extent.
Yeah, there's always that worry, isn't there?
And when you got those sort of deadlines,
yeah,
there's a worry that there's going to be something that you go...
It's coming out no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Even if it's not prepared, like server-wise. Do you remember Battlefield 3?
Fucking hell.
Do you know what I mean? This is the thing.
Oh.
I completely forgot about this because this is a problem that could happen. DICE have got a history of this, and if it is rushed out and not stress tested and it doesn't work on release, that's going to be a massive problem.
They are doing a beta.
Yeah.
So that'll be the test, I think, for that. But they absolutely need to get them right, because I think this is quite easily going to be a big game. I think it's going to be huge, this.
There's so many eyes on it. Don't fuck it up and there'll be hell to pay. I can say that much.
I think as long as they get that right and there's no glaring issues in it. I mean, from what I played, there was nothing that I got in 20 minutes and thought, fucking hell, this is clunky or an FPS drop or anything. I thought it was all smooth. So it's positive, I think, coming for me anyway. I mean, that is my game. That is literally just online.
You've developed it, but I know what you mean.
I own that game.
I own the rights to Star Wars. Absolute billionaire.
George Logan.
He's got rid of it all, hasn't he? He's sick of it. Washed his hands of it. Will it go up and down in your estimations? I mean, I know it's probably not your game, but after playing it.
Sort of game, but like I said, I think I'll buy it just because every one of my friends will have it.
Be cackling, they won't.
And I think that's the best way to enjoy it, is playing it with friends. It's that type of game. It's not going to be one for sitting on your own.
No.
Friday night bored.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What about platform, PlayStation 4 or PC? Because you've got a decision to make. That
is, graphically, it was awesome. So I reckon it could be a bit of a beast to run on PC full Mac, and it annoys me if I can't run games on Macs. So without not being able to shell out for an upgrade, I'm quite tempted to get it on PS4 if the likes of yourself and other Dimp members
that could happen. Well, Piper said he was getting it. He was very impressed, and he's not your typical first-person shooter guy, and he said he's getting that, and that speaks volumes to me, because
this could be the one where I go, bundle me.
Well, yeah, I think you're going to see those. You're going to see
Darth Vader already.
Yeah, Darth Vader limited edition bundle. We get that. Be absolutely laughing. Let's move on to another game. Let's do Just Cause 3, because we got to play a 20-minute demo, free roam, and I don't think I'm lying if I don't say we enjoyed it all. We all enjoyed playing through that.
Game of EGX for me.
For you, so let's just start with that then, because you've played both Just Cause 1. Just Just Cause 2, haven't you?
I played Just Cause on 360.
Oh, and
I'm currently still playing number 2 on PC.
Yeah, I mean it's all out chaos. You've played both of those.
Yep.
Did it feel the same old, or did it feel bit fresh? Because that's the worry for people that have played 1 or 2 or both, is that it's kind of like, they're just trying to do a newer version of that.
Yeah. The demo that we played, it did feel a little bit of same old for number 2, but I think the inclusion of the wingsuit shakes it up a bit.
Sure.
But yeah, the liberating the city and doing all these different things, that's very much number 2.
Yeah. That's bollocks in what I don't like. I don't know. It's kind of like it's that Ubisoft template that everyone else seems to want to copy now. Like just clog the map up with stuff to do, liberating areas and whatnot. And
that's right. The problem with 1, 2 is they've never really had a sort of decent story. Like the story's there, and it's just sort of like filler. It's not something that you remember. Once you complete a game, you won't remember the story.
No.
It's more about just blowing shit up and having fun. And it looks like they've improved on that for this one.
Sure.
But but it is very much. It is a lot of the same, just with a few new added gimmicks. But it was enjoyable, very enjoyable.
Well, that's good to hear in itself. You got your game of EGX. It did look great, didn't it? I think that was running. It must have been running on a PC.
Yeah,
wasn't
it looked like it was on PC. Yeah, there was.
Had an Xbox controller in it. Yeah, I mean that was your game of EGX. That's it. The award has been handed out from Adkins' side. Mr. Kroger, how did you like this third person open world mayhem?
Yeah, it was all right. It was a good game. It was good fun. The problem for me is with any free world open game, is I'm always
free world. We've gone for now. Renaming the genres as we go.
The free world. That's what I go for. I've got to liberate it to become the free world. No, it's just always in the back of my mind. I'm going, is it GTA though?
It's not, and that's the thing. It doesn't. It's never going to be as good. It's different, but it's not because it's that same kind of. It's the third person open world system. That is a concern. Piper said much the same as well. Actually, he said it just like he played Watch Dogs and things like that. It just never feels quite as epic.
That's the trouble. Is that I'm in the back of my mind. I'm always going, I wish this car handled like it did on GTA. Or it doesn't, and I don't know. But I think. It is such good fun. Like it's something I think you'd need to pick up for a bit when you're not feeling too serious, and go right. I'm going to grapple some people now.
Yeah, that grappling hook is amazing.
I just think it's good if it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's just there for blowing shit up and just going mental with, and for whatever reason, that's what they've gone for. I haven't played 1 or 2 before, by the way. This was my first Just Cause go. It was good. It was great fun for 20 minutes. I mean, I could have sat there probably for an hour just trying to blow shit up, and but I didn't really get my head around the whole liberating. It didn't really direct me to anything. It was just they were just there, and I was like, right, I don't know what I'm doing. Let me grapple this person on the bloody boat and see what that's about.
I mean, that grappling hook and the tethering is brilliant, where you can attach the hook to 2 different things and then tether them together, and you can create all sorts of carnage. And if you're creative enough, I've seen people doing all sorts of crazy shit, grappling fucking helicopters to boats and shit, and it just looks ridiculous in what you can and can't do. And the thing for me that stood out for me is that it was a 20-minute demo, and I think that's probably the longest demo we had on maybe any of the games. Maybe Battlefront was the same or slightly more, but it went really quickly.
Yeah, it did.
It just evaporated, and I was like, shit. And people come around and get up, and I was like, fucking hell.
Barely had to go, mate.
Yeah, it felt like I hadn't even scratched the surface. I was pissing around in the village for ages, just upsetting the locals.
Yeah.
You know.
It is hard to form a full-on opinion with 20 minutes of gameplay.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think, like Metal Gear Solid, if you play that for 20 minutes, you play a couple of hours down the line, you're unlocking stuff that completely changes the game.
Yeah. But it is tricky. And kind of, I kind of judge it on just how quickly did the demo feel. If I know the time, and that just evaporated. Whether I'll buy it or not is a different question, because just simply it's so busy. It's going to be so busy, and this is December, I think, is the release date. I might have got that wrong. But yeah, it's great. It's a third-person game, which I'm more kind of down with, and open world I do like. And it was just chaotic. I had great fun. One of the most impressive. December 1st. So there you go. I mean, it's later in the year, but you know, Fallout's not getting done before Christmas, I don't think, at this rate. But yeah, it's one of those things I might pick up later on down the line, like Logan said, just to play for an hour or a couple of hours here and there, because I don't think the story's going to be that serious. If they try and do that, it might put people off. One thing I wanted to ask you actually, Akins, is that you played a lot of Just Cause 2.
Yep.
Did you play a lot of that online, or was you playing the actual single-player game?
I've only stuck a couple of hours into the online mode.
Yeah.
But
that's very popular, isn't it, still?
Absolute chaos, yeah. They've got because it's a mod, they've got a lot of, a big community on there that play it. But again, it's just more of the same. It's just absolute carnage.
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't even remember if they actually had any, like, sort of modes, sort of capture the flag or anything like that. I think it's just sort of PvP, all against all, and you just go around killing people. But it's so much fun, because just absolute carnage with other people, especially with that tethering system with the grappling. Just put things together.
It's great.
It is great.
Well, I think the one problem they've got now is that a lot of people, as I said, that Just Cause 2 multiplayer is very, very popular. They don't have that in this. They do not have that on that scale. I don't even know if they've got multiplayer. I don't think they do. I think it's just single player, and that was just the offline leaderboard. That wasn't even. They've done a tournament mode basically where you have to try and create as much carnage as possible. They had to come round and write down people's things on a bit of paper. I was like, well, couldn't they get a server set up?
Don't press continue.
Yeah, don't press continue because you'll lose your score. It's like, Jesus, just going around with a pad and doing it. I just think they might struggle to keep those people and drag them away from Just Cause 2 multiplayer, because there's no multiplayer there for them in that sense. But it's great fun to play. I can't deny that, and it's something that I'll definitely keep an eye on and see what's going on. Another open world game, although as I said I liked them, I've played so many this year, I'm getting sick to death of the bastards. Everything's open world. Open world boxing simulator. What are you doing? Don't need it. Come on.
Football Manager 2015 open world.
What are you doing? Leave me alone. Give me a narrative. Don't do the order though, whatever you do. Right, VR. Now, Logan, you might want to check out at this particular point or go and get a coffee because you didn't actually get a chance to play any of the VRs on offer. But if you want to obviously if you want to stick around, obviously pick our brains about what we've got to play. So me and Adkins both got to play PlayStation VR. We got to play a demo called The Kitchen, which was a exclusive demo for the PlayStation VR by Capcom, and it was an absolute sack of shite. It was honestly to have that as your PlayStation VR demo, first time the UK public get a chance to play it, and they give us that.
Absolute dog shite.
It was, and just to explain to people what The Kitchen was, is you sit in a chair, we're tied to a chair, not physically, they don't actually tie to the chair, but in the in the game you're tied to a chair, your hands are tied, your controller acts your hand, you can kind of move them around, and you just watch these like monster zombie things murder a bloke, and then eventually they grab the screen, and the only bit of interactivity I had was knocking over a light, pushing my hands forward once. I had to do it 4 times for it to register. And he went, "Oh, give it a hit." And I was like, "Well, I'm doing it, mate, and it's not registering. What's going on here?" If you're going to show off this piece of kit, which a lot of people are sceptical of, and rightly so, because it's going to be expensive and people don't know how it's going to be, you need to supply them with the best demos that show off what you can do with the interactivity. This didn't showcase anything other than you could watch a computerized film almost and move your head. Shocking decision from Sony. Is that a bit harsh, Adkins, or is that kind of spot on?
100%. Obviously, they did have the other game that we'll touch upon later, but no, the one that me and you tried, that it was an absolute appalling game to start with.
Yeah, and that was our only chance. That is the thing. That was our one chance for the 2 days to book in a slot, and we got The Kitchen. And honestly, if you'd never played VR before, I don't know, maybe not. If you've never played VR before, you might have been blown away by it. But I've played a few now. I need to see something more, and this didn't give me the opportunity to do anything more.
That's right. When I've played VR previously, it's the motion. When I played a few space games. So you're moving through the planets and stars and stuff, and you're still looking about, and your hands are moving, and it's that like actually doing stuff with your hands and still being in that world that makes that VR experience amazing. But that just being sat in a chair doing nothing, that was absolutely dreadful. Like watching a film in 3D, it was just redundant.
Yeah, it was.
I haven't done this VR before, but sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, I thought you was enjoying your coffee, but go on.
My concern with this whole VR thing, and I've been sceptical of it since the start.
This would have put you off, Logan.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
If you're sceptical, you'd have gone, what? No.
The reason I'm sceptical,
you would have shit your pants. Like, you wouldn't have liked it.
The reason is because I think if you're being immersed in a world, I think it has to actually be more interactive than it does at the moment, because you're accepting that as your reality, your brain is accepting it, so you therefore need to be able to interact with them even more to a next level. My concern was that they're using it more as a 3D film, or do you know what I mean? You're sitting there and you're watching more.
Passive.
Yeah, more passive, and I don't like that, and that's one of the reasons why I'm sceptical, is because they go, look, you look like you're in it now, so you're going to sit there with your hands behind your back. Do you know what I mean, though?
Yeah.
Oh, coach simulator, journey from here to fucking Spain. Oh,
10 hours worth of it.
10 hours. God.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and this would have confirmed that kind of fear, and I just don't think it's a clever move for Sony to do this. I mean, they gave us some feedback kind of questionnaire to do after I just put the game just wasn't up to scratch. Basically, you can't give this to people to play. It's scary. I mean, it didn't frighten me particularly, but some people wouldn't. Like if Logan, you got that, you would have been livid. You wouldn't have wanted to do that. You probably would have asked to change game. But
yeah, I'd have gone, I ain't doing that.
And two, it's just like you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. I sat there in a chair, watched some guy get stabbed, and then they put their hands over my face.
Spoilers!
Yeah, I'll spoil The Kitchen because it ain't worth not spoiling. I'll tell you that much. Actually, the demo itself not very good. Biff played the heist or the Getaway, London Heist, the Getaway he called it, and he come back and he was very, very positive because he had the PlayStation Move controls, he was moving his hands. He come back very positive. I think those are the sort of games they need to show, not these ones where you're sitting there doing not very much at all. The headset itself was actually quite comfortable though, which was I think just trying to draw some positives out of the not the demo, just the headset. I found it very comfortable. It was nice and smart. Didn't feel too heavy. It wasn't aggravating. I just don't think the demo they chose was correct. Dreadful.
Shame. It's all about the game on these.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right, and it's amazing. You get the game wrong, and you're sitting there thinking, "This is a waste of time and money."
I've really blown it. And
Chair Simulator 2016.
This might as well have been. It was a shocking decision. I just can't believe at a public show like this that they've allowed that. Maybe they were thinking that people can do it for the first time, and it's going to be that whole first time experience. And I can get why that would work, but when you've got London Heist there, put that on. Give everyone that, because that looked great, and Biff had nothing but good words to say about it.
So short as well.
Oh yeah, it was 6 minutes. I had a half-hour slot booked. 6 minutes it took. Get out. What?
Yeah.
I was 10 minutes late as well. I wasn't. They were.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. It was very short. HTC Vive was also there. This was also like a brand new thing to the UK. I was utterly heartbroken that I didn't get a HTC Vive slot. I was really looking forward to it, and then I got an email on Wednesday saying I wasn't successful, despite being probably one of the only 7 people in the world that's got a HTC phone. They decided to absolutely shun me. Mr. Adkins, you did have a go on this, and you had nothing but good to say about it, apart from some press member nicking your slot and delaying you. It's from what you told us at the event itself. It sounded very, very positive. Can you just take us through what you actually did? I mean, PlayStation VR, we sat in a chair. This it was a little bit different. It seemed.
It did, yeah. The first I did do 2. I went into 2 rooms.
2 separate rooms, were they?
Yeah, 2 separate rooms. The first one was a sit down event, which I think Piper also played.
Yeah.
And that was that Elite game, just sitting in the chair.
Right.
And it didn't have any the effects on the cameras at all weren't included. It was just the headset and your hands.
Right, I see.
A joystick and stuff. That was very good for what it was, but that wasn't the full experience. Then I went into the next room, where I was in a sort of a box room, no bigger than your average bedroom.
Right.
4 corners of the room were cameras, and you had the headset, and you had these 2 custom-made HTC controllers. Look, very similar to the Wii nunchucks. They were like, not like the small, like the actual controller, but one.
Sure, yeah.
Like that sort of length. And so you're standing in a room, and you're in like a sort of matrix grid.
Right.
And so you're in that square room walking about. If you get towards the edge, a sort of mesh grid comes up to say that you're getting close to the wall, so you're not going to bump into anything.
No.
And then they laid upon me 5 demos.
Alright, so that was just as like a little setup, was it? Just getting you used to walking around with a headset on?
Yeah, that's the menu system. You start off in this sort of matrix room, which is just all white, and you're just walking about, and there's all these 5 demos in front of you that you walk up to and press them, and they start. The first one I played was just blowing up balloons. You press a button on the controller and a balloon comes out, and you just bash it against the wall and kick it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like being 2 years old all over again.
Brilliant.
It's fantastic.
It was absolutely amazing. It's crazy how it plays with your mind. You know it's not real, but because you're moving around in this world, everywhere you look, you're looking around.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable. It really does mess with your head, but it's so immersive and brilliant.
So is there an arm moving when you're moving your actual hand in front of you? So
you've got the 2 controllers.
That all tracks really well. That's all.
That tracks everything. Yeah, your whole body. So wherever you're going, every time you blow the balloon up and kick it and punch it across the room, you see an arm. It's amazing. But it was really.
You can kick it.
Yeah, you can kick it. Yeah,
of course, because the camera's tracking every movement.
Tracking your whole body. Yeah,
that is good.
Oh, it's insane.
That's what I wanted to do in the kitchen. Going back when those zombies were getting in, I wanted to kick them, but it couldn't. Couldn't register that.
No. So this really did, and it was so fluid as well. Like I thought it might be a bit glitchy or something, but it was just spot on. Right. Really clever. The second demo, I was on a sunken ship underwater.
Yeah.
That was not really. not you didn't actually do anything really. That was more just a sort of showcase of looking about. But you could see over the edge of the boat and so it's really weird how it's done. Underwater, and you just have like a massive wow coming past you.
Right, yeah.
It's really impressive, very impressive. The third demo was you had like a sort of Minecraft crafting game where you had to build a little device with wheels and get it into the goal. Mm-hmm. So you have to make it and then send it on its way, and that was very good because you're sort of having to bend down to pick up the pieces. And
again, whatever you're doing is being reflected in this virtual reality screen that you've got on your head.
Yeah, you would look like an absolute nutcase with someone watching you. But it was so good. Like I said, bending down to pick stuff up and sticking things together. That was the best demo.
Cool.
I thought. The fourth demo was the controllers turn into like a palette. It's like a sort of a paint on the PC. Yeah. You've got your controller turns into a palette, but it's all 3D. So you're painting and you can walk through your paint. Yeah. And you can add all these effects like flames and paint splats, and you're walking around it. That'd be impressive to see because I think a lot of artists and stuff will be able to make some real creative stuff with that.
Yeah.
And the final demo, which was very impressive, was Portal. You're inside the Portal laboratories. I forget what they're called now.
Fuck's sake, yeah. I'm cut up at hearing this.
Yeah. So you're telling you to open drawers in the laboratory and stuff, and then one of the little Portal robots come out. I forget their names.
Yeah.
But they come out and then they break down. So you have to pull out his insides and then you have to fix him, put him back together, and then that big boss robot comes out to try and get you, and then everything's crumbling around you, like the whole laboratory like destroyed, and you're in it, and everything's crumbling around your feet. The floor starts going beneath you, and your heart starts pumping. It's because you're in that virtual reality, even you know it's not real.
Yeah,
it's still there. But that was the best ever VR experience I've ever had.
Really? So that HTC Vive, that is.
If you can
afford, that's the one.
The guy said that they should have some information about retail towards December, he reckoned.
Right, okay.
But if you've got another thing that, like you were saying, it puts you off is that you need that room.
Yeah.
He claimed that you didn't. He said he used it in a tiny little room.
I used it in a bathtub and it was fine, mate.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
So that's the only thing that puts me off is that you can have these four corners up in your lounge. Your wife's going, "Oi, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Drilling that in the walls."
Unbiased opinion required.
I mean, it sounds like everything that I'd hoped for, and I'm depressed that once again didn't get to have a go on it. And there are obviously the concerns that in a household, is it practical? We don't know. And again, are the games going to be right for it? Sounds like they've got a good set of demos that they're showing off to people, kind of giving them a bit of everything. Piper did go along to this also, and he only got to have the first half of that start you described when he was in the Star Shooter game. So I think he was a bit disappointed because he's played VR before, so he's done the whole sitting down and controlling things and looking around. I think he was looking forward to actually be able to get up and walk around. They didn't give him that opportunity, which I think again that shouldn't be happening. Like that's the one thing that none of the others can do. You know, Oculus and PlayStation VR, Samsung Gear, all the other stuff, they do not have this technology.
No, they need to bin them demos.
Yeah, they need to get rid of those sit-still ones, which is fine if you've not played any VR, but as soon as you've done it once or twice, you're kind of like, right, I've done this, I need something new. And that HTC Vive sounds like that is something completely new, and it's something that people are going to really get into. Whether it becomes practical, sounds fantastic, and I'm gutted to have missed out on that. Logan, you got any questions or any other concerns about this particular bit of VR? Because it does sound a lot different to what the other ones are, where you're essentially just sitting down.
Yeah, I don't know what they can do with it. Do you know what I mean, though? There's only so much you can do in a room.
Yeah.
You are confined to do that room, and you can't go any further. So you can't do an adventure game because it goes, no, you're getting into the wall. So, Kitchen Simulator 2017. Fine. Do you know what I mean, though? That's
No, that is spot on.
It's one of them things where you go, that's impressive, but what am I going to do with it?
Yeah. It's going to take a new kind of something that we've not seen, I think, to incorporate the kind of the little movement space you've got, and also to give the game a bit of oomph, like being able to move around and do an adventure game. But yeah, you're right. If you're confined to just a room in the game, I mean, what stuff can you do apart from throw paint at a wall and do your kitchen?
There's only so much you can do stationary, so you can. I suppose your body accepts that. For example, if you're just moving your head and you're moving via a controller, I suppose your body just accepts that as your reality, but I don't know how they can reflect that unless you're going to get unless like a rolling board, so like a treadmill that can go in different angles depending on which way you walk.
That would be cool.
There is one out there, isn't there?
Yeah, there are ones out there. I've seen them like linked up to GTA. It looks incredible.
Yeah. Well, unless you can do something, but again, it's going to boil down to cost, isn't it? So if they can,
got to get a fucking spare house for this.
That's the problem. And is it going to be any better than you sitting there with it on your head?
Yeah.
Doing it.
Is it going to be good enough to warrant that kind of outlay? Is the question, and we will find out next year. I imagine.
People have cinema rooms, and in the end, they'll go, right, here's my VR room.
Yeah. Yes, that's what it'll be. It will, won't it?
Another room required. Bloody hell, extension.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'd love to have a go. I imagine we'll see some kind of like centre set up where you can go in and pay to play. I don't know, something like that. I'd be happy with that. You just kind of go in and pay for 2 hours. All right, fine, 30 quid. I'll go and do that, and I'll be happy with that. Well, I don't know. Making these rates up. That's what I'll charge.
2 hours, please. £10.
£10 per minute. What? Yep. Assassin's Creed. Now, Syndicate, this was obviously. I've played every Assassin's Creed apart from Chronicles and the one that was Rogue that was on the last generation consoles. Even Disgrace that was Unity, I played that. We got a decent demo of it. I think it was about 10-15 minutes. It seemed really quick. They kind of just kicked us off, and I was like, oh, thanks very much. But Mr. Logan, you're coming at this from a player that's not played much of the Assassin's Creed series. You've got Black Flag, kind of binned it. Anything that's in Syndicate that might rethink that particular opinion? Yeah,
I like the combat in it. That seems to be more crisper, and like, so if you come across 3 people, it seems, in the other one you go, I'm going to absolutely get slaughtered, but you've got more of a chance in this one to fight your way out of it.
Yeah. It's got all weight to it, I found. Like, when you was hitting them, I felt I was really clunking on the head. I was like, yes, have that. Yeah, you can feel them going, Christ, that hurt. Didn't like that.
It was good fun for what I played of it, but I don't feel like they've brought anything new to it.
Actually, you haven't.
You can keep putting it in different locations if you want, but it looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't feel like I was doing it. I didn't go, oh, this is all new. Oh, London. No, it's exactly the same old school buildings, really. I'm doing exactly the same thing. I won't be buying it. I'll put that there now. But that's
absolutely
not really,
put that out there.
That's not a damning indictment of the game.
No.
I think it'll probably suit the hardcore AC fans. I think, like Biff, for example, loves it, so I imagine you'll get it. And
he loves the setting as well. That's what's dragged him in. He loves the London setting.
I told him though, the only sniff you get is the fact that they're dressed like London Royal Guard.
They all talk like Cockneys, and you're like, well, is that how one sounds? I don't think they did.
Apples and pears, Doris.
Yeah, that's
no, it doesn't happen, does it?
I mean, one of the positives was that there was a couple of new features. Like, you had the grappling hook, which was quite cool. Didn't work like Batman or Just Cause, where it zaps you over. You kind of still had to crawl along, and I was like, come on. I would have thought a lot of that if that kind of attached your body and pulled you up. Didn't seem too buggy from what I played. I didn't encounter any glitches, which is for Ubisoft now is a success. You know, when it comes to Assassin's Creed, because Unity was an absolute sickening disgrace. Mr. Adkins, you've sort of dipped in and out of the series. What was your thoughts on this particular demo itself?
I've got to say I was impressed by it, to be fair.
He's going to buy it. He's bought it.
I think I probably will. I won't pre-order it like I have done with every single one of them. No.
Wash my hands.
I think it's already been delayed on PC.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
Probably won't be out till next year. But
this week's delay news.
Yeah. One thing that really did impress me is we played it on PS4, and it was running at a solid 60, which I did... Temper with at first, that is not 60.
Yeah.
Wow, it's been confirmed. Wow,
it is. Yeah.
I heard that is anything but 60. So.
Yeah, and it definitely was. Yeah.
I mean, I was impressed by that being on a PS4 because all the other Assassin's Creed are all 30.
run at about 1 frame per second, mate.
Yeah.
Unity did.
Well, to be honest, even the bloody PC versions did run at 60 FPS. So to see it running at a solid 60, that was very impressive. I was very impressed by the combat as well.
Yeah, I like that.
Thieving from the Batman series.
Yeah,
but it was a welcomed addition, and like Logan said, it's great when you get a sort of a group of enemies coming towards you, can really see them off.
Yeah, you can give them a good kicking. Yeah, I mean they seem like they kept the mission structure from Unity, which I thought was one of the few positives from that game. The fact that it's a lot more of an open assassination. You can go and one of the examples, you could go and get keys from a bloke. You could steal them off him, or you could have someone kind of dress up as a guard and pretend they've got you as a prisoner to get close to your target. So it gives you a lot more options, and I just wish that this was there kind of a few years ago when I wasn't so fatigued by the series, because not only am I fatigued, I'm also burnt from Unity. Still want Ubisoft to make a pirate game with the Black Flag combat. Yeah. Just a pirate game. Don't need to be worrying about Assassin's Creed, but that doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon. So, Mr. Adkins, up or down in your estimations?
Up.
Yeah. But still not up enough. Quite.
No, not for a pre-order.
Not for a pre-order. Maybe a post-live.
Yeah, when it goes down to about £25-30, I'll take it.
For that one. Mr. Krogan, did you even have an estimation to start with? Probably not.
I just thought it would probably be like most other ACs. It appears to be.
A little bit up, a little bit down. About the same.
I did enjoy the combat, but I enjoyed it, but I always knew.
It's a stealth game though. You think, why?
Yeah, I know, that's the problem. And they kept coming on. And in the end, there was literally about 10 around me, and I was staying alive. I was like, I don't know how I've done this. But I already felt there was a sense of impending doom about it. I thought, I'm gonna have fun while I'm doing this, but I'm definitely going down.
Yeah.
And I did. So I was like, right, well, it's still not about that then. So.
No, you will be put down. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. Like I said, unless it's going to be something massive, I probably won't get it. Adkins, I'll be interested to hear your opinions when you do get it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection. We all got to have a go on that, all three of us. I did a little bash at that. I think it's from Uncharted 2, a particular level they pulled out of there. Logan, this was your first experience of Uncharted. So you're an Xbox boy. Any regrets that you haven't got a chance to go through these based on what you had played?
Nah.
Absolutely written it off.
Nah. It was alright.
Yeah.
But I didn't go, bloody hell, I need this in my life. I just thought, well, it's just a video game. Yeah. It felt bog standard. It did. It just felt bog standard. I was going through some bog standard territory with an AK-47, third person. I mean, to be honest, because I'm not that familiar with it, I didn't even know it was a reboot. I was just like, what's this? I thought, play it. Well, this is fucking clunky. What's going on here? How are they selling this for £40 a pop?
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that I did play. When I played it, it felt really loose, and you're right, it did feel clunky, and it just felt a bit bad for some reason. I don't know if that's because it's aged badly, and that's how it always was, and that's just not the memory I have of playing it. Or if a Blue Point have bollocksed it up. They've obviously remastered this. I don't think you can bollocks it up though, but
nah.
I'm a little bit concerned actually. I don't know. There's a lot more tighter experiences out there. This might feel a bit. Like
I just want to use the Gears Ultimate Edition as an example of a way that a game should be remastered. It's so smooth and it's not clunky, and that is an old game for Gears. Yeah. So I just think if you're going to do it, put the time in. I
don't remember it being like that when I previously played it, but what did you think of it, Adkins? You've obviously played them as well.
Yeah, again, it did feel clunky to me. I don't think it's anything that that company have done.
No,
I do think it's just the progression of the engine that is advanced so much. They've used, I think, I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying that they used that engine for free and The Last of Us.
Right. Okay.
And I think it's that old that we played both of those games, and we're more familiar with the newer games. Going back to that has really set us back, and like you say, it's just that's what it was like at the time, and we accepted it, and we've moved on since then. So going back is a bit of is dated.
Yeah.
But the visuals, I was very impressed with. I thought it looked like a current game.
Yeah, I'd hope they'd be able to get that. It did look great. And Logan, I think you actually sat down and you was halfway through the demo, was you not? Because I don't think you
I was. Yeah,
so you missed
picked it up.
There was a massive set piece that happens just before, which you unfortunately missed, and that's probably one of the best parts of the game is the set pieces. Yeah, and he missed the whole lorry chasing him down the alleyway and all all that. You just picked it up at the end when you're shooting the bloke. So it's probably not the best demo you've had of that, because you've just sat down thinking, oh, it's just a cover shooter, which in some respects it is. There's a lot of climbing and puzzle solving, which they didn't.
Oh, okay.
So you did get shortchanged a little bit there. For me, this has to go a little bit down in my estimations, just a tiny little bit, just because I wasn't, I didn't really enjoy it too much, which was a bit of a shame. I don't know, maybe it was me, but a little bit down for me. Mr. Adkins?
Fairly on par. It was what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Very impressed by the graphics, but again, very clunky. I'm a big fan of the series, so I think I'll buy it.
Yeah, okay, cool. Mr. Logan, up, down, indifferent, wasn't really something.
I didn't have any expectations really. I thought I'd sit down and see what it was.
Yeah.
It seemed playable, it seemed alright. I just, with my backlog and what's coming up for the rest of the year.
This fucking backlog.
I'm not ticking things off it, I'm just binning things off it.
Yeah, you've got to take things off it every time to do it. Yeah, no, totally understand that. Mario Tennis, I didn't get to play this. A bit sickened by that. I was sitting down in a chair in the kitchen while you lot were off playing this. Oh, yes. Any good, Krogan?
It was alright. It's
typical kind of Nintendo fun.
Yeah, it's just
sports game which you can pick up and play and have fun with.
I mean, I picked it up. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was still hitting stuff back. It was me, Biff, and Tom, I think, that played this actually. And it was me and Biff that went up to it, and then she went, "Oh no, you take the Wii pad, whatever it's called, the gamepad. I can't think. Is that what it's called?
Gamepad.
Yeah, and so there was 3 of us on it and 1 computer, and it was a good laugh. We played a game of it. You're relatively easy to pick up, and you sort of got buffs on there that make you bigger, and it's just good fun, really. It's another party game. It's what they do. Yeah. You'll play that as at least 2 when you got someone around your house.
Yeah,
it was good fun. I don't really know what else to say about it. It's just
no, it's fine. This means that's a staple of what Nintendo do. Create that experience where if you want to have a games night. There's nothing really better out there than get a Nintendo Wii or a Wii U. Because
I was seeing some of the stuff around there, like Splatoon and that tennis, and I did think, they do good games, Nintendo.
Yeah.
And I've written them off quite easily in the past, and I just think, well, maybe I should give them more of a look.
Yeah. When we did come around the other week, though, and we played on the Wii, didn't we? The original Wii.
Yeah.
We had great fun.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
And it was terrific. Go back to Mario Tennis, Adkins. Do you have any thoughts on this particular game? I mean, none of us own a Wii U, so it's a bit tricky to obviously pass too much judgment on it. But I assume it was a good crack.
Yeah, it's just very similar to Logan's opinion. It was just sort of your box standard Nintendo game. No one,
gonna shave
no
his
one on
soon.
it. There was no one playing it. Hence why we jumped on.
Yeah,
it's not going to make me want to buy a Nintendo, but I was impressed by the visuals and something you can just get on and crack on with. That's a selling point for me.
Absolutely. What about Star Fox Zero then? Because we had to go with that as well. We queued up for an hour for that. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was going to be a short one, but I thought it was an enjoyable game. Is that something that would, because that's a popular franchise, would that make you go towards getting a Wii U maybe?
I've got to say, I remember playing the old ones on the N64, was it? Yeah, even the older ones. Yeah. It disappointed a bit for me, to be honest. Yeah, I thought the graphics were quite bad. I played.
They weren't great, were they?
No, I played. What's that? Smash Brothers and Mario Kart, and I was impressed by the graphics.
Beautiful, aren't they, those games?
Yeah, but I've got to say, there was a lot of jaggies, and it was
rough as a swamp donkey.
Horrible looking game.
Jaggies!
Yeah.
Jaggies! Yeah, that was something that put me off the graphics and that. I thought, the nostalgia was fun, like going, oh wow, I'm in one of these little flying.
Oh wow, I've got jagged edges in my game. Fantastic. No,
stop this nostalgia.
Yeah, no, I don't think I had Tom Tom Adcock on the podcast obviously last time, and he played it at PAX, and he said it didn't look great either. He was
there's something good.
And there's something that a lot of people have flagged up, and I don't know whether they're trying to get that feel of N64 where it's done on purpose, or whether it's just genuinely they can't get it to scrap nicely. It has been delayed. It's not coming out till next year, so it's another
good
kind of. I think there's work to be. I had quite a bit of fun playing through it. I absolutely sweated on that controller though. The guy must have been angry with me because I was going to get hangover, and I was like, "Cool, he doesn't want this." I didn't use the gamepad for the kind of like targeted aiming. I didn't use that. I didn't even look down at that. I was just like, no, I'll focus on the cursor that's on the big screen. Did you look down and use that? Did you?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, that was quite good. I quite like the transformation as well. You could turn into sort of like a birdie thing.
Yeah, like a ground combat you could go into.
Yeah,
you,
quite like that. That was good.
Yeah, a little birdie. I think it actually was unbelievable. No, I mean, I think for those that are fans of it, it's going to be great. And but it's not what I want from a Wii U. I want Super Mario Galaxy 3 and Zelda, and I think they're both going to end up going to NX. Star Fox Zero, I kind of had no expectations going to it. I mean, it's not something. It's not a console I own. But I had good fun with it. Was it worth queuing up for over an hour for? Probably not. But once we committed, and then we got to a point, it said half an hour. I was like, we've already been here half hour. Can't just walk out of this. Not like we did in Tomb Raider. We come round, they went 2 hours. Went, no way. We're staying here for 2 hours to play that. Get out of there. Street Fighter 5, Mr. Adkins. You had a game against a nice young lady. Nearly lost. Nearly got beaten in front of it. There was a lot of people round, kind of wanting her to win. You're a big fan of the series. What was your thoughts of this next edition of Street Fighter?
Again, much of the same, combat-wise. I didn't see any new inclusions. I think a bit of stage interaction you could do. There's a few sort of hanging signs that you could jump up and interact with a little bit. I think, was it you and Piper had a game and you punched him into a...
bus, was it?
Yeah, bus, that's it, and he drove off. So I thought
that was real life.
That was quite impressive. But really, it was more the graphical overhaul. It looked a lot sharper, a lot more polygons, and it looks more 3D, the characters. I was very impressed by that.
Yeah.
Some new characters, which I only had one game, so I didn't get to experience them.
No.
But yeah, the small one game against a girl who wanted to verse me.
Yeah, it was a bit weird the way she worded that. She went, do you guys want to verse me? And I was like, is this some sort of proposal? I don't know what this is.
You're too young.
Yeah. I was like, no, not my type, love. But no, she meant have a game with her. And I was like, oh.
Say that then.
Yeah, I thought I thought I'm absolutely not playing her because I will lose and I will be embarrassed. I sent Adkins into the firing line and he managed to pull through.
3 rounds.
Went 3 rounds, it did, didn't it?
Oh,
it did go 3 rounds.
I was bricking it.
And rightly so. Indie game, Iron Fish. We got to play the first time that it's been released to the public to play. Developed by Beef Jack, who I must admit never heard of before. Chap named Dean Edwards is behind it. It's kind of like an underwater exploration game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You're in a submarine that you can get out and swim around. It was good to look at. I think it'd be quite a good VR game, actually. Funny enough, because it's kind of quite slow and whatnot, but. It being so slow when you're moving around outside of the sub was just it really drained the pace out of it. Like I had to go and collect two or three things. I had to collect 3 more, and I was thinking, I've been here 20 minutes now. I want to go and do something else. I didn't want to just leave the demo halfway through, so I just killed myself essentially. Could do with speeding up the pace a bit. Logan, you played this, and you're not I wouldn't say the biggest fan of these indie games. What was your initial thoughts or your actual thoughts on Iron Fish?
Firstly, I don't mind an indie game, but generally I just find that they do what AAA titles do, but worse.
Wow.
That is the trouble. They need to be
statement.
It looked alright. I found that. I got even moving in it sort of goes, you're like, come on! You're underwater, this is, what's going on? And then you go, right, I'll get out. And I was just exploring about a bit, and there was a box I saw on the deck, and I thought, I'll go and see that. And Tom was watching behind me, and I was like going with my hand, like going, come on, like get move on, move. Like I understand people want it to replicate.
I can swim faster than that. I'm telling you.
Yeah. And that's the trouble.
I'll do front crawl and get me over there.
And they've got an oxygen limit. So you're fucking down there, you're going, bloody hell, like it's going to run out.
Well, that is another thing. Because it's so slow, I was shitting myself. Like, when I first played, I was like, fuck, I'm going to drown here. And it was half a mile away. I was like, I'm not going to get there in time. I did. But, yeah, I'm not quite sure about this Iron Fish. I mean, it's a good idea. I just think it might just be a bit too niche to be overly successful. I think they need to add a bit more variety. I mean, what else can you do other than get out and swim around?
Psychological thriller, they said.
Well, that's what they said, and I didn't get
Silent Hill.
Yeah, it's a Silent Hill meets Jaws, and I didn't get that feeling from it because there was no atmosphere. It felt very empty under the water. I know it's like silent down under the water, but you think all you can do, I think, with having some audio cues and things like that when the sharks come in near you or whatever.
There weren't any audio cues with that.
No, because you had to go as well, Mr. Adkins, and you got eaten by a shark. Did you get killed by a shark in the end? Yeah, but it took a good 4 goes at you, didn't it? Oh, did you have
it took about 4 or 5 chunks at me. I was still swimming around, blood pouring out.
Yeah, loving life. But I agree. It's one of those things. I think it needs just a bit. If they could get the atmosphere in that right, then that would be a great game to play. But I just didn't feel it. It's not coming out till next year, but.
No.
But yeah, it's something I'll keep an eye on now. I've played it and just to see how it's getting on, and if it looks like they might have changed it slightly for some of the things that I fed back, then I'll have a look at it for sure. Let's wrap things up because we are getting riddled with technical issues today. I mean, we've cut out 3 or 4 times, so apologies if there's any. I mean, I know it's normally poorly put together, but this has been exceptionally difficult to work with. Been dropping out, and it is my fault, which is annoying. Not my fault, the internet. Awful. EGX as a whole, Mr. Logan, let's start with you quickly. Would you go back? How did you think, actually? What do you think of EGX, first of all? He's not there, so we'll move. Oh! What are you doing?
Huh?
I just asked you a question, you cunt.
I was on mute.
Fucking hell. I mean, we've been riddled with technical difficulties, and then we've got clown behaviour setting in late on as well.
That is amateur behaviour, that.
So how did you find EGX as a whole then, Logan, looking back at the experience, the 2 days that we spent there?
Q Simulator.
It was Q Simulator 2016.
It's okay. It's
2015, correction.
It's hard to say because it's nice to have a go on some of these games, but is it worth all the expense and queuing for me to go just as I thought?
Yeah.
Like this, I think we were saying this last night in our room. We were saying I'd rather spend £40 or less if we don't get it on release, but I'd rather spend that and go, oh, I don't really like it, I'll trade that in. Or like, do you know what I mean though? Like, I don't. There's nothing that I buy that I think I need to have a go on that first, other than VR, which I think is a valid one to have a look at. But like, for example, Battlefield, I think Battlefront, blown it. I was always probably going to get that, and it's pretty much what I thought. I've seen videos, and so it's nothing surprised there.
And another thing I'll just chip in: there's a lot of these games these days have public betas.
Yes, exactly. That was the point I was going to get onto.
Yeah, sorry. Well, I thought
That's all right.
I'll get it as my point. I thought.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, so for example, Gears Ultimate, I was on the beta for that.
Yeah.
Like, Halo 5, I would have been absolutely queuing up to see, but I played the multiplayer beta, and I know that that's good. So I think its importance has diminished a bit because we will always get to play the beta anyway and make a decision then and go, no, I'm going to bin that. Like Rainbow Siege is doing it. The Battlefront are going to be doing it, so I think they all do it now to test their servers. So I think it's good for indie games.
Sure,
I think it's good to have a go on them, but I think you need to, if you're going to go there, you have to be getting into the whole thing.
Yeah, you can't just go for game demos, which is what we did, and I think
it's what we do really. And to get your full money's worth, you really have to like the sort of people like us that are there that are getting there. People want signatures, you have to like them sort of people, you have to sort of be interested in a little bit of cosplay and
there's developer sessions that we just ignored as well and whatnot. We had the presentations from Deus Ex and Hitman, but there was throughout the day there was other developer sessions we could have gone to regarding different aspects of gaming, and we didn't do that particular part, which is a bit of a blower.
Yeah, it's just I don't think I need to go to them. I think it's a good weekend away for us. Like, I
was regretting it Friday when I woke up stinking hangover.
Oh, I regretted that whole day. Literally the whole day until I had my mackerel in the evening.
Sacred mackerel.
Sacred mackerel
saved me.
Sorted him out late on at 8 o'clock in the evening. He finally got saved. Yeah, I mean, I'd echo some of those thoughts. Mr. Atkins, you've obviously been to Earl's Court when it was in London.
Yep.
Would you continue going to this? You haven't been for a couple of years since it had gone to Birmingham, and is this something that you'd like to continue doing? Would you go every year, or maybe just dip in? Or was it just
I like to, but the
blower?
travelling to Birmingham was a bit of a stinker.
Yeah.
Just like, it's fun going away for a week, anything, but it does make it a larger expense. Like Logan was just saying, all that money for a game that you think, yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
It did build to that.
I bought the game and committed and traded it in, and
yeah. I've also felt it was a lot smaller than Elves Call. I don't know. It probably because it's only set in a little. It's not actually the whole of NEC. It's just a small room.
Yeah.
So I felt it was a lot smaller than Elves Call. So where I thought the queues were a lot bigger, because there's more people crammed into a smaller room, so more queuing. So I found that the old ones, the big game, the heavy games, the AAA games like Evil Within and stuff, that had quite a small queue last year, so I was getting more games done. I think we had about 17 last year, whereas this year I did about 7. So
was that us dragging you down though? Because I think we were so disorganised. We were bumbling for ages.
I don't think so, because I think like last year, I didn't queue for sort of 2 hours for a game, whereas a lot of these queues were about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Was it the Division was 3 hours long queue?
Yeah, I mean that's
2 made it 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I think that just puts you off a bit, just to have a sort of 10-minute demo
doing those 2 games.
Yeah.
That would be, wouldn't it?
It was more cluttered, I thought, a lot more people in a smaller area, so I didn't get much done.
Yeah.
I'd like to keep going, because it is fun playing these games before they come out and getting a little view on it.
Yeah.
But it does start to build up expense being in Birmingham.
Yeah, I mean, if you live in that part of the world, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's spot on, but obviously because we have to travel up there, it's a bit of a stinger. I did enjoy it. I felt like we didn't make the most of it ourselves as what we perhaps could have, but and being a bit more organised would have probably helped, and just committing to some of those queues. I mean, maybe they would have been 2 hours, maybe they would have been less.
I couldn't have stood in one of them Saturday. I could barely stand there and watch Iron Fist. I even thought I was going to have to go and sit down with water again for 20 minutes.
You had to take a time out, didn't you, during the last day? Overall, I thought it was decent enough. I would go again, I think.
VR was quite fun this year.
That's the thing, VR was. And what I'm hoping is next year there's a lot more stations, and you get a chance to try the HTC Vive, because they'll all be out next year. So what I'm hoping is they'll want people to start trying them, and they'll want as many people as they can to get in and try them, and then go out and buy one afterwards. I think that'll be quite big next year, and I'm hoping there's a big space dedicated to that, but I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I think we'll call this to an end. The technical difficulties have sucked the energy out of us all, and I don't think the long weekend has helped either. But thanks everyone for listening. If you want to get in contact, you can do. Tweet us at Dimp Digital. You can also like our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Dimp Digital, and the email address, as always, is dimpdigitalmedia@gmail.com. Make sure you check out the Dimp Digital YouTube channel. Later on this week there will be a video blog, mainly a montage of what we kind of saw at EGX, and you'll get to see what it looked like, and you might see a few hungover faces in there as well. And you'll see what sort of torrid time we had on that second morning. But there's other video content going out, news, reviews and previews, all sorts of things there. So make sure you subscribe and don't miss out on that. That's it for now though. Game over. It's goodbye from Logan.
See ya.
It's goodbye from Tom.
Ta-da.
It's goodbye from me, Apps. Thanks for your time, and ta-da.
I was going to add in as well about the enemies being bullet sponges.
No second chances. You've had it now. Go, oh.
And headshots didn't seem effective.
They got fucking helmets on, mate.
Wow.
Have you not seen them? One shot kills with the headshot. Helmet worth it. Why have we got this on then?
Right. Dear me. Right.
That's all. I can't see out of it properly. I still get killed in one shot, regardless. So that's pointless.
That is why Battlefront does not have effective headshots.
That'd be my guess.
Dear me.
And headshots. There are none.
Oh dear.
Come on, Tom.
Right. Right.
That's his limit.
I'm not. I just started to cut out again.